Helps me out a lot. Hi. Hey everyone, welcome to Realization Hub. My name is Michelle Corazao-Dinu, and I'm an intuitive counselor, energy healer, and channeler who loves to bridge the gap between the unseen world of spirit, consciousness, energy, and intuition so it can apply to your everyday human experience. Today's video is an energy update for October 2023. Finally, some things are moving along. Woo! If you enjoyed these videos, please like these videos and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. Let's go ahead and get started. But hold up, before I get started, I want to talk about a sweet little offering I have this month in October. On October 19th, which is a Thursday, you can sign up for my free introduction class for the Radiant Self program. If you can't make it live, sign up anyways because you can get the recording and catch up on your own time. In this class, I'm going to talk about how energy works, how to be in command of your energy, and you'll learn 3 basic tools that you can use on a daily basis to release energy, rebalance, and replenish yourself. This class and my future classes are perfect for anyone that considers themselves an empath or a psychic sponge. Getting commingled with others and feeling crappy every day is not okay. You have a natural reset button, and it is using your intuition and your healing abilities to reset your energy whenever you need to. These classes are also amazing for anyone that considers themselves a sensitive leader. As a sensitive leader, you're navigating 2 worlds, the energetic world and the physical world. And putting yourself out there in the world to bring your dreams into reality is a big deal. That's moving a lot of energy. And learning how to manage your energy and heal yourself is huge, is a game changer when it comes to getting out of your own way and being freaking unstoppable. If you consider yourself naturally intuitive, if you are experiencing your intuition and don't know how it works, if you want to develop your intuition or just harness the wild intuition that you currently have and apply it in practical and empowering ways, these classes are for you. I hope you join this class. Again, I'll put a link in the description box below so that you can sign up. If you can't make it live, get the recording. I'd love to see you there. The overall energies in October feel a little bit nostalgic, celebratory, maybe a little bit sentimental or moody or at sometimes whimsical. We are really about to leave a huge chapter of our lives behind us, okay? And that chapter may have been about 10 to 15 years long. And the remainder of the year, we're kind of still in those energies of tying those old chapters into a bow. The energies in October are kind of like a prom dance, and I'll explain. I'll set the stage first. You know, when you go to prom, let's say you're in high school and you go to prom, it's usually in the springtime near the end of the school year, okay? You still have maybe a month or 2 left of school, but there's a prom dance. And so prom is like a celebratory time. You have, you know, all these kids coming together in high school to go to this dance. It's a celebratory time. It's a social time. Prom is also a time where, for those that are about to graduate, it's kind of like one of their final memories of high school outside of that graduation ceremony. It's like their last prom. It's like the last time they get to come together and actually play together and enjoy each other and celebrate their whole high school experience with one another. And so prom can also be nostalgic for some people, like sentimental. Some people could be like really excited to move on, you know, at prom. Some people are holding on and want to attach to their friends and their family and the way of life that they're living. You know, all kinds of emotions can come up in prom. So I want to bring that analogy out in October because we are wrapping up some pretty big chapters in our life right now. And October feels like a milestone for us to say, hey, we're almost done with this. We're almost done wrapping up this chapter. Let's enjoy it. Let's take a moment to enjoy this chapter, kind of enjoy the people in our lives that we may be letting go of, that we may not take with us, wrapping up loose ends with our relationships, the relationships that are going to come with us, the relationships that are not going to come with us, and being able to enjoy them anyways. October may feel a little bit moody in that some of us are just freaking ready to move on. We're sick of this kind of energy that's forcing us to go within and wrap up this stuff and rework things and reevaluate and redo things and wrap it up and purge and let go and all this stuff. Okay. Some of us are just so ready to move on, just like someone in high school who's just so ready to graduate high school. They could care less about prom. They just want to move on, right? And then some of us are still holding on to the old chapter, not ready to move on yet, kind of being dragged out of this chapter, still attached to certain lifestyle, still attached to certain relationships, still attached to certain career paths or jobs or modalities or you name it, feeling like they're not ready yet to move on, okay? And some of us who are maybe completely disoriented, confused, hesitant, have mixed emotions about moving on, not quite sure what the future looks like yet, not totally clear about what's next for them. Kind of looking at the unknown, being a little bit intimidated by it. As I was tuning into feminine energy, I noticed that there would be quite a lot of dark integration going on right now, or shadow integration, for some of you watching, if you don't know what I mean by that. So it's kind of like the dark goddess is out in October, and it makes sense because at least in the US, we have Halloween as one of our major holidays at the end of the month. And so that tends to bring out some of our darkness. And so I really do see feminine energy kind of coming out in her power around her ability to integrate these shadow sides of ourselves. And what she's doing is she's kind of digging out these hidden parts of us for us that may be socially awkward or socially insecure or just not quite developed socially. And she may be helping you come more into your power, helping you come more into your full self. She looks really focused, the feminine energy, and she's definitely going to help reveal a side of yourself that maybe other people haven't seen. And quite frankly, it could be some kind of talent, hidden gift, or just like the word that I'm getting is kind of like a badass. Like, example that just came to me was of a hustler who's like, they pretend like they don't know what they're doing, and they're like, oh, does anyone want to play pool game with me, and then they get out the stick and the balls, and all of a sudden they just kick someone's ass at pool, and everyone's like, where did that come from? That's what I mean by hustler. Like, I feel like feminine energy is digging up old parts of ourselves in October that may not be like allowing us to fully show up in our power. And that when people do finally see us fully showing up in our power, they're kind of like taking 2 steps back, like, whoa, I never saw you like that before. Like, whoa, that's another side of you I haven't seen before. Like, wow, like your ability to really show the real you is coming out in October if you kind of work with these parts of you that are coming up to the surface that might be a little bit shadowy, that might be a little bit awkward, that might be a little bit small, that might be a little bit underdeveloped or immature in some ways. Ultimately, where I see this going is for people to be able to get the respect where they weren't getting respected, getting credit where you were maybe devalued, getting through our thick defense mechanisms and getting into more of a sweet nourishment that we really need. Ultimately, cooperating with ourselves a little bit more and what we need so that we can show up in our realness and really show up in our power socially and in our relationships and with the outside world. Now, with that said, I was tuning in more into masculine energy, and masculine energy looks like it's definitely going through a rebalancing between kind of like almost like the inner child and the adult masculine, and just where have we become too dominant, too controlling, too brash, too direct, too quick to decide, quick to judge, versus where have we let people walk all over us, devalue us, treat us like a doormat, take advantage of us, say yes when we need no, people please when we really need to be meeting our own needs. There might be kind of a conversation going on between the inner child and some of the parts of you that want the masculine side of you that wants to take action on things, that wants to specifically kind of bring action or truth, or I don't know, maybe even justice, or like diplomacy, or what's another word for judgment to things. Where our masculine energy can come in and say, this is how I'm going to deem the situation, and because I deem the situation like this, I'm going to take action based on that decision, or based on that evaluation, or based on that judgment, or based on that truth. And we might be going through a bit of a rebalancing around what's true. How can we bring balance to our most vulnerable needs, okay, and where we may have shown up in a way that allowed others to take advantage of us, and where can we show up also kind of like in your strength, in your power, and in a very decisive way. As we come into October, I feel like we're leaving September with this kind of wisdom of the small details matter. They matter in our ability to create our dreams, and they matter in our health, and they matter in the way we serve others, and they matter in our relationships. And, we may have become aware of not just the small details that can empower us and take us from here to the next level, but we could also probably become aware of those small details that we've been ignoring, that actually really don't work for us, that bug us, that get in our way, that distract us, that we've outgrown, and where we can say, you know what? This just doesn't work for me anymore, and I don't care if it's small, I'm getting rid of it. That kind of reminds me of like wearing a really small itchy sweater. And it's like, if you have to wear a small itchy sweater for like 5 minutes or 30 minutes or maybe even an hour, you could probably tolerate that. But if you had to wear a small itchy sweater every single day of your life for years, it would probably drive you insane, right? And so as we come into October, I think we'll be kind of re-owning that. Like, what might seem kind of small and subtle, but it's actually not working for us at all, that we need to leave behind. Overall, we're coming into a bigger transformation in our lives. We're about to start some new chapters, or a big new chapter in our life. And, these are some of the small ways we're tending to the details. The old subtle patterns that really don't work for us anymore, and our ability to just say, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm done with it. And even if it seems kind of too direct or too brash or too impulsive, I do see a lot of people just needing to be done. Done with the old patterns, done with the old wounding. Even if it feels subtle, even if it feels minor, even if it feels, like small little details bugging you, I do feel like how people have had to focus on like getting real with that and like, you know what, I've just really outgrown this. I don't even want to tolerate it on a subtle level anymore. Well, this kind of leads us into more of the social energies of October. And some of the intellectual energies in October. October is going to be another month where we have some heightened intellectual energies. The mind will still be going through some changes, particularly as we go into, October. I'm sensing that there will be a rebalancing going on between coming to our truth and how we present ourselves to the world. When I look at, October, there's definitely a mental release that I see happening. It could be kind of like a moment, maybe with your inner critic or internal voices, but it's kind of like a release of mental resistance. And that resistance isn't yours. It's resistance that you've absorbed from outside opinions, people that have projected their criticism onto you, their judgments, their projections, their evaluation of you, how they see you. And there will definitely be that moment where we decide, like, are we going to let what happened in the past stop us? Or are we going to come to our truth about the past, come into our power, still go for what we want, still create our dreams, and move on from that past injury or wound, and really start to present ourselves in the world in a new way, like trying to either be consistent with your values or reinvent yourself based on you coming into your truth after healing from something in your past. But there's definitely an emphasis on how you present yourself to the world. And I believe that is a beautiful wisdom coming through in the energies in October, because again, we have this big overall chapter ending in our life, and then we have this new chapter beginning in our life, that's kind of coming. We may have had like an insight into it in September, or an insight into the new chapter in our lives earlier this year, and so this is a month where we may be, having a healing, having a rebalance around the old ways we used to present ourselves, and coming into and owning the new way we want to present ourselves that is aligned or more updated with our current values and ambitions. Some of this resistance that people might be working through, it might show up as internal mental chatter. It could show up as kind of mental irritation, like feeling more irritable or critical. It could be showing up as like there's something not working for me, or this isn't working, like a critical energy of feeling like there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong that I'm doing, this isn't working, I'm not working, something's not working. This is what it's like to internalize other people's judgments of you. It could be anything from self-deprecating thoughts to just repeating old things that people have told you in the past, to hearing inner critic or internalized haters' voices from the past. But this is the type of mental kind of rebalancing or wounding or healing that we might see coming up. Just releasing old criticism from other people that no longer helps us along our way. Certainly something new that's brewing for us. There's a big passion or ambition or creative energy that is pregnant in the mass consciousness energies. And it's just like if you were pregnant, or you had a big belly full of ideas or projects or things like that. It is, before you start taking action on all of that, there's a preparation going on, and that preparation, a part of that preparation is, releasing the old life that you're letting go of, releasing those past stories, no longer letting, how your relationships went in the past dominate how your relationships go in the future, or how, anything. You can apply that to anything, not just relationships, your career, your spirituality, so on and so forth, your health. Finally, the last energy I want to talk about is stepping out of our comfort zone. Where we may have been really stubborn in our comfort zone, just procrastinating, being lazy, putting things off, or just maybe not being able to get out of bed and do what you need to do. Where we may have been stuck in old emotional patterns of feeling kind of like we can't have what we want, being focused on what we don't have, being too focused on how much money we have, the kind of status we have, could even come down to your health and just like eating and your exercise and your routines, and just where you've been stuck in old ways, old comfort zones that aren't really getting you anywhere. We may have some more clarity coming in October that allows us to kind of break the broken record that keeps playing in our lives. There is kind of like a breakthrough, I should say, happening. Maybe a breakthrough is kind of starting to happen in October for some people, where wherever they've been stuck in their comfort zone to the point where it's kind of become their own prison, like daily patterns, where we're not willing to show up in practical ways, where we're procrastinating, being lazy, being stubborn in some way, has kind of kept us in our own shell or our own prison. In October, there is kind of this kind of illumination or this clarity or this kind of surprise, or maybe even just change, unexpected change that can happen, that allows you to break out of your own prison, out of your own comfort zone, and kind of allow you to go into a new potential. Start to go in the direction of your new ambitions, the new chapter, the unknown. There is kind of like a breakthrough starting to happen around that, where we get out of the rut, get out of our stubbornness, get out of the comfort zone and into a new direction finally. I would love to pick a card for today to see if there's any other information that wants to come through. We have Two of Pentacles and Nine of Swords. Okay, and this is reminding me, this Nine of Swords energy, it's reminding me of the mental thoughts that we will need to release. These are thoughts that may have kept you up at night. You can see like this pillow here, the insomnia, the headboard behind this person. It's like a faint bed headboard. All these all these birds flying around, creating like noise, like a lot of this mental noise. That is releasing. We got this card upright, which is a really good sign that, we're breaking through these thoughts. There's a beautiful white bird right here. There might be some integration going on with our mental body, dark parts of us that, are scared, are, worried about the worst happening, that think of reasons why we need to hide or be alone or play it safe, and so this card is indicative of kind of the mental storm or the mental chatter that may need to be released in October. It's holding us back. It's keeping us up at night. Just tuning into more of a clairvoyant image of this card. These are specifically the mental thoughts that inevitably destroy what you're creating. They don't allow you to bring it to full fruition. These are the thoughts, these are the mental energies that would kind of prematurely destroy something before you even brought it to fullness. And you're ditching these thoughts because you're about to step into a new chapter in your life where you can come into more fullness around something, whether it's your full potential, the full creation that you never created, or just taking something to its next level in your life. Like, it just feels that the energies that you're releasing would prematurely stop you from doing that. it's kind of like building up to an orgasm. It's like really, like some people can't even have an orgasm. Some people can't even like feel pleasure, and then some people can kind of build up and get close to an orgasm, but they can never have an orgasm. And then there's people that can actually have the orgasm. And the same thing energetically happens in our creative cycles and how we create things. Our sexual energy is actually very creative energy. And it's a really good analogy for, where we can't bring what we're manifesting into fullness, whether that's who we become or something that we're creating in the world. If it can't come to fullness, there is some kind of wounding or blockage or limitation that doesn't allow us to do that, because it's natural to be able to bring something to fullness, to be able to bring it to a climax, to bring it to that full fruition, just like an orgasm, and so this is kind of like those non-orgasmic energies. This is kind of like the blockages, the limitations that get in our way when we're taking something from maybe an idea or a type of clarity or a dream to its fullness or to its fruition. And these are the thoughts that get in our way. Those are the thoughts we're releasing in October. Then we have this Two of Pentacles card right here. This indicates someone that an energy of having a lot of things going on, a lot of juggling going on, a lot of things that maybe you're catering to in your life, projects, relationships, ideas, responsibilities. And it is really a need to prioritize, manage your energy, really get focused on your priorities and what needs to happen first, next, and last. Again, this feels like a very positive message here. Like it feels very optimistic, this energy in this card, when I'm tuning into it for the collective. It's kind of like there's a lot that you probably need to do to change your life, to create the life that you want. There's probably a lot to accomplish, a lot to embody, a lot to take steps around. There could be easily overwhelm around this. Okay, and I think because these two cards came out together, this could indicate that your thoughts are the getting in your way and needing to release so that you can prioritize and actually focus on kind of organizing, discerning, prioritizing everything that you need to take action on in your life. I'm going to go ahead and pull a couple more cards. The Sovereign. All right, and then we have the Sovereign card here coming out for October. This crown. I really feel people coming into their power in October, and really their sovereign power. Like October, it's interesting how there could be more emphasis on your relationships and your social life and how you present yourself to the world. But it all comes from all that truth about how you show up in your relationships, how you show up in the world, how you go towards your goals, how you bring balance in your life is all rooted in your own sovereignty, like your own personal truth, your own authentic nature, your own individual values. We've gone through such a reckoning this year with our own personal values, and how we can like really clarify that and bring it out into the open and own that, and this Sovereign card is like, okay, now that you are aware of some values that you've taken out from deep within and taking up to the surface. Now, how are you going to engage with the world, as a independent or sovereign individual who is self-governed, who has their own wisdom, their own information, their own values, their own truth? How are you going to go out into the world and engage with your responsibilities and other people? And, ultimately, I feel like this release around our thoughts and our ability to prioritize comes from us embracing ourselves as individuals. And, for some of you, maybe for some of you or all of you, but I'm seeing a kitten in this, in this card, like a clairvoyant image of a kitten. And the kitten is curious, it's investigating. It's, going into little corners and areas of the house that it hasn't seen before. It's not just out in the middle of the open in the safe zone. It's like, what's in this dark little corner? What's under the couch? What's under the bed? Like, what's in this dark shelf or this dark box over here? It's investigating some of the darkness, some of the not so open places. So again, I do feel that theme of like, almost like the feminine energy in October that is taking us out of some of the obvious spaces in our life and more into some of the smaller crevices of our energy, some of our darker shadow areas that may be small, but they're hidden somewhere, and it's helping us to come into our values, into, who we really are, into our power, into our self-autonomy. All right, and seeing if there's any wisdom that wants to come through. All right, just asking for wisdom coming through, and we have the Queen, which is crazy because we just had the Sovereign card, which has a crown on it. So we're really getting this emphasis on this kind of like queen-like energy in our feminine energy. So I'll talk about that a little bit. There might be some kind of enlightenment going on with this archetype in our feminine energy, taking it to its next level of balance, taking it to its next level of expression, taking it to its next level of divinity in our lives. Okay. And the Queen, she is an archetype that is decisive. She can make decisions, not just for herself, but for the best in her world, and she can discern and evaluate and be discerning and even critical in some ways, but critical for the sake of discerning what's best for herself and her world and making those decisions. She's not as sentimental or nostalgic or emotionally driven. She's a little bit more strategic and kind of rooted in her values, okay, rooted in her priorities. And overall, the wisdom coming through is to embody this kind of archetype of being rooted in your priorities, being rooted in your values, being rooted in your truth, being strategic and discerning and decisive, and looking out for what's best for you in your own world. So there's a moon here, so we might be seeing kind of a culmination or fruition or maybe even a release around this archetype of the feminine. And I really feel the beginning, like a new beginning around this sovereignty. Like because of this sovereignty, it allows you to go into a new potential in your life, a new beginning, a new chapter. Like this is critical. This part of us, we've been all going through it so hard. Like it almost feels like a ongoing, relentless boot camp of us going within and like getting to know who we really are and what we need and what we value and what our priority is and what our calling is and what our dreams are, and just getting very real and and connected to that. And I think that is all prepping us for the next phase, the next chapter, the new beginning that's happening in our lives, the new potential that's happening in our lives. The other wisdom coming through for October is the shaman archetype. Now, the shaman is well equipped with healing abilities. You know, it's just like, it's kind of like a medicine woman, a medicine man, you know, being able to connect with the cosmos and nature and our natural healing gifts, our natural ability to alchemize energies. And so there is a diamond here, which could represent integration, you know, taking the broken pieces of a mirror and turning it into a diamond, bringing wholeness to these parts of ourselves that are just lost and scattered and disassociated, and you know, bringing more wholeness into some of our energies in October, using our healing abilities to shed, to rebirth. A lot of this death and rebirth symbolism in here. October is, late October is the beginning of Scorpio energies. I know this because I'm a Scorpio. So there could be some themes of shedding and death and rebirth and kind of endings and beginnings happening at the same time. You know, we even have a hand here, which, you know, to me could represent our healing abilities, our creative abilities, our abilities to work with the greater, you know, our greater world energetically, the big picture. You know, all these stars are here. So yeah, I do think that embracing your healing abilities, the way you connect with your energy on a big cosmic level or on a practical day-to-day level, and being able to use and apply your healing abilities to that and anything that may be old and needing to shed is going to be important wisdom in October, because ultimately it's helping you become stronger in your ability to make a choice, to go into a new potential and to navigate that new potential in a way that is strategic, connected, prioritized, valued, you know, or organized, things like that. All right, guys. It's a lot of messages coming through today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your energy in this video, and I will see you when I see you. Take care.